It's good to see a lot of familiar faces. I'm D. Shea from Ironside. I'm a Director of Client Service. I manage two practices at Ironside, one being business intelligence practice and another consulting practice. We've got two presenters here today for our April Take30. We've got Greg McDonald's been with IBM for over 20 years, supporting customers within product management. His focuses are on admin, security, content management, containerization, and cloud path for data. And then we all have Rodrigo Andrade. He's a senior product manager. He specializes in AI within Cognos, mapping and visualization. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go through this presentation for about 25 minutes or so. There's a lot there. And then towards the tail end, we'll open it up for any question and answer. All right, so Greg, this is for you. Go ahead.
Excellent. Thank you, Dee, and welcome. And thank you all for joining us today. As we go through what's new in Cognos Analytics 11.2.2, we always like to start with a slide that explains where we are in our release cycle, what's current, what's innovation, what's being removed. So we'll start with that first. Put up a slide. First off, a couple of important notices for all of us on the phone today, and that's first, we've announced that continuing support for Cognos 10 will be at the end of this year, December 31st, 2022. So it's important, if there's anybody on the phone or if anybody knows anybody who's still on Cognos 10, to absolutely reach out to someone at Ironside or myself and talk about a upgrade plan to get you somewhere current. If you are on Cognos Analytics 11.0.13, you're probably on one of the two plans that you see on the screen, and that's the 1-year extended. That's a paid support program or the continuing support program. The continuing support program, so that we all know, is you're able to call into customer support and get help with your problems. But with a continuing support program, there is no development support with that. So those are two important things to note if you're on either one of those two. You can see the middle purple, Cognos Analytics 11.1.7. That is our LTSR support, so long-term support release. We delivered that almost 2 years ago, July 2020. And then below that, you can see 11.2, which is our other in-market stream, and that's our current innovation stream. So with 11.1.7 LTSR, all we do to that stream is apply quarterly fix packs. We release those to our customers. We also release security updaters to fix vulnerabilities if they exist. And in our 11.2, our innovation stream, that's where we release new features to the product. Now, what's important here to also note is that we're announcing that at the end of this year, 2022, the 11.2 will also have an LTSR. Now, I can't tell you what number that is, but if I was to place a bet, I would say that would likely be like 11.2.5, and that will then become our current in-market LTSR. Also like to call out that we allow for 12 months of overlap. So if you are a customer who isn't one to adopt the innovation stream and continually move forward with new features and functionality, and you typically stay on the LTSR, we provide 12 months of overlap. So with us announcing that to you today, 7 months before we have the LTSR for 11.2, that gives you ample time to start planning for that 11.7 to 11.2 LTSR upgrade. So 3 pretty big announcements today in that area. Before I hand it over to Rodrigo, we'll just do a quick recap, very quick recap for those of you who aren't up to date. And again, just calling out a few highlights from the 11.2 release, 11.2.0 release, which was, I think, July of July of 2021. And in this release, the biggest change, if you haven't seen it, I encourage you to go to YouTube. But the biggest change is to the home screen and content navigation experience. Customers complained, about the flyouts and the lack of real estate that was offered to them. So we brought in a lot of full screen views to this release to make navigation simpler. Not just navigation, but content manipulation, manageability of the application, right? The managed screens, all of these things now have significantly more real estate. The home screen is actually designed using IBM's Carbon design system. And the reason we did this was because most of the other IBM products that you'd be familiar with also adopt the IBM Carbon design. A big one you might be familiar with is Planning Analytics. Another one is, IBM Watson products. And what this does is, for customers who have multiple IBM products, it makes the user experience significantly easier, right? As you move between Cognos Analytics and Planning Analytics, for example. So the adoption of Carbon was important to us and IBM. And if you haven't seen 11.2, I encourage you to take a look at it, because it really is a significant improvement, I think. We also did, a couple of other things we did was improve Watson Studio integration. Which was a big one for us. We incorporated a Watson Core NLP with our AI assistant. And the last bullet on the screen is a faster loading of dashboards. And we had a significant development effort in this area, so that the initial loading of the dashboard was significantly improved over our 11.17 release. Then we look at 11.21. That was a relatively quick release. It went out September, late August or early September of 2021. And this is where we officially rebranded. I'm sure most of you have heard it. We've officially rebranded ourselves IBM Cognos Analytics with Watson. In 11.21, we also introduced a mobile-only license, as little as $5. So that was a big one for a lot of customers adopting mobile. And we uncomplicated our Cognos SaaS on-demand offering, right? We now have, and I'll talk about that in the next slide, but we now have two low-cost tiers. We introduced 3D maps, bin grouping, you see on the bottom right, a new donut visualization, and then we, as we always do, and again at the end of this slide presentation, I'll show you some of the other conformance updates, but the big ones, data source updates are Dremio and IBM Cloud SQL Query were introduced in 11.21. So those were well received by our customer base. Now, just before we jump into 11.22 again, just wanted to talk to you about the deployment options that we have with Cognos Analytics today. Most organizations that we're talking to and dealing with are in or have been for a couple of years, or certainly entering into it if they haven't been for the last few years, a transition period, right, where they're taking a look at their enterprise architecture, they're adapting to current trends, including obviously cloud, and in many cases they're adopting variations, right? There's on-premise still, which a lot of customers still use heavily today. There's cloud, there's hybrid cloud, which we see a significant investment in, right? Where the customer has both on-prem and has chosen a cloud provider. There's multi-cloud. Large enterprise organizations often don't standardize on just one. And then IT strategies are really focused around containerization, right? Containerization offers flexibility, scalability, high availability, all the abilities that you want in an enterprise application. And so we are in a position, as you can see on the screen, to offer you, our customers, pretty much any flavor of that that you want. We have the 30-day free trial for new business units if you'd like, new customers, full capability of the product, and we are able to take and migrate that content to one of the other 3 offerings on the screen if you were to go that way. We still continue to have our client or customer hosted, our on-premise solution. Now, we're seeing that evolve significantly in that it's still managed by our customer base, but they're deploying Cognos Analytics now in the traditional sense, install and configure on multiple clouds, right? Enterprises or customers that are standardizing on IBM Cloud, Azure, AWS, Google Cloud Platform. They're now taking Cognos Analytics in the client hosted scenario and moving them there. And then, of course, we have our containerized version of Cognos Analytics, and that's deployed in Cloud Pak for Data. For those of you that are familiar with Cloud Pak for Data, Cloud Pak for Data is built on Red Hat OpenShift, and Red Hat OpenShift is one of the world-leading enterprise container platforms. And Cloud Pak for Data, Cognos Analytics is deployed into that Red Hat OpenShift platform. And again, Red Hat OpenShift has the flexibility of being able to be deployed on any cloud, multi-cloud, hybrid cloud provider you want. So on-prem, on IBM Cloud, on AWS, whatever it is you need. And is one containerized offering that we have in our arsenal today. And then, of course, we have our Cognos Analytics on Cloud. As I said, our on-demand version, we've significantly simplified it to standard and premium, 2 different offerings. And then on the far right, for customers that truly want a managed service, right? Lower administration costs, no hardware costs, somebody else managing the heavy workload of operating system upgrades, application upgrades. You can move to the cloud hosted also offers customers a more dedicated, more flexible, customizable option for deploying Cognos Analytics. If you are interested, from bottom left to top right or bottom right, we do have a host of people that are able to engage in those migration conversations, because that content on bottom left will successfully move to either one of the 2 other offerings. And with that, I will hand it over to Rodrigo.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, Ironside, for inviting us. Talking about dashboard enhancement, on 11.2.2, the dashboard team focused on improving the usability of Cognos dashboard for consumers and authors. We improve in making various flows more intuitive, I can say. From a general usability standpoint, we add styles, options for charts to make sure you can customize them to your needs. This refers to axes, data values, and also to the legend. You can see this in the image on the top right of your screen. We also add the ability to round the edges on widgets similar to a PowerPoint from a rounding perspective. We improved the opacity property so that it only affects the background and not the text. It's really something that our users were asking a lot. You can now also multi-select text widgets and adjust various font settings for all with one flow. And we also add support for inner margins, vertical alignments, inline 8 for text widgets to improve our to be more customizable, I can say. And we have also improved selection and alignment capabilities, including the ability to multi-select and align content horizontal or vertically. You can see in the image on the bottom right. And you have also added a property to remove the selector border when we are arranging widgets on your canvas. On this way, it's better to align the edges with widgets across
your dashboards. And you also made some improvements to both colors and pins in dashboards. Talking about colors, the widget color is now picked up by the color wheel so that it can be referenced easily for X codes and RGB codes for dashboard customization. And talking about background, the background colors for each tab. So now we offer the ability to adjust the background color for each tab in a dashboard. One example of use case for that, you can use a stoplight dashboard where one tab is red for at-risk items, for example, and one tab is yellow for cautionary items, and a tab with a green background for items that eventually is going well. No? Talking about pins, pins are essentially a library of reference widgets for reuse, including visualizations and images. And in this new release in 11.2.2, we add a thumbnail for pinned images, so it's easier to have a reference, and also add the ability to rename pins for also to easier reference. So we are really excited with this new functionalities on dashboard, and we are really preparing something really more special yet to our that we are preparing at this moment. Now, talking about AI and data science, you know, everybody that use Cognos Analytics also take advantage of use all IBM artificial intelligence power, which means that when you use Cognos Analytics, you are also using all IBM Watson power. With that, Cognos make it easier to our users with no expertise in data science, with no expertise in statistics, or no technical background, to have a self-service service to be able to use the data in a best way, to use the data in a smarter and faster way, and have the possibility to know without depends on technical teams, depends on data science team. And one of the most interesting features of Cognos Analytics, talking about artificial intelligence, is the capacity, is the ability to use NLD. So we are using natural language generating to create texts in natural language texts to explain, to summarize what you are analyzing. So if you maybe are not so experienced in analyze your data, you analyze a chart, for example, or even if you are experienced but you want to just save time, you can use our NLD to create text and explain to you what you are analyzing, what you are seeing on your screen, what Cognos Analytics is really summarizing for you. And on this 11.2.2 release, even knowing that our NLG was already bringing something really valuable to our customers, we know that we can always make it better. So we improve our user experience, and we are bringing a new way to write these texts, the NLG texts. So now our NLD are rephraser. So which means that it's all the texts that our NLD were already generated, now is being generated in a more easily and understandable way. So you can go to the next slide, Greg, please. Here's an example of a comparative between 11.1 and 11.2. you can see that now you are, for example, rounding numbers or make some text more short to improve the user experience and to improve the way that you can understand the texts that are being generated by NLG. So we are constantly improving our NLG, and this is just the first step that we are showing now on the 11.2.2. Talking about other really important functionality of artificial intelligence in Cognos, in the next slide, you can see some improvements also in Cognos Analytics assistant. So if you don't know, if you're not familiar with our assistant, Cognos Analytics offered a chatbot assistant that can help you to use your Cognos. Again, if you are not familiar or if you're not technical, if you don't have a background in data science. So you don't need to know the relationship between your data, between your tabs, your tables. If you don't need even know how to ask something to your Cognos. You can just ask something and our assistant will search and show you the answer, already offering a suggestion of visualization, like you can see in the screen. I just asked, show the top 3 products by sales, and the assistant is already giving me a suggestion of a chart. And now in our assistant, we can understand some expressions filters like in, for, if, well, where, top, bottom, greater than. So I can say that to have even more natural language that we have already. Another improvement in our assistant, you can see in the next slide, is what we call temporal expressions. So now you can understand something like next week, or last Christmas, last summer, or something like second quarter, New Year's. We can understand temporal expressions that can express time entities. So in the example, you can see show property from last Christmas by product, and the assistant could understand what I'm saying. Next slide, please, Greg. And talking about data science, you can today integrate some notebooks, your own algorithms with Cognos, and you can use Watson Studio to connect and integrate it with Cognos. So in 11.2.2, the main change in this area, the data science, is that dedicated log folders for Cognos on cloud via the Watson Studio integration. It has been moved to a new ROM, to a new location. So this will not impact the on-premise Jupyter Notebook features, just to the cloud one. And as you can see, the major difference between our previous version of Cognos at 11.2.1 and our new release is that the logs are now consolidated and it's centralized in the same location. So this makes it easier to find logs files when you need. This is also important to build towards a congruent experience across node services in Cognos, such as dashboard service, pinboard service, and more. So if you have any questions between artificial intelligence, between science or data science or the roadmap regarding these areas, please feel free to ask or email us later. Now, I'm calling you again back, Greg, to talk about modeling and data assessment, data access improvements.
Thanks, Rodrigo. Yeah, I apologize. So I guess I'll get through the data moduling section for today. I think we went a little too long here.
That's okay. I think just if you guys keep on going with the content that you have, it's worthwhile, and you guys already prepared it. So let's keep forward. Let's just keep pushing forward till the end.
Okay, great. You just let me know. So next we'll talk about modeling and data access enhancements. We now allow for sorting items in the metadata tree. This includes folders, tables, columns. They can be sorted, as you can see on the left-hand side, they can be sorted alphabetically or sorted by type. This particular feature is really good for customers that have large data modules. Large data modules with lots of tables, as I said, tables, columns, or lots of folders. What we're trying to do here is streamline the experience when using data modules so that our customers can focus faster on getting to their data insights, by getting to the information and the they need to gain from these data modules. And improvements like this in 11.2.2 will make it significantly faster for you to get. And again, these 4 data module features that I'm going to be talking about are all about helping you to adopt data modules faster, right? That's what we want customers to do. New projects, new areas, focus on data modules whenever possible. Uploaded or updated metadata properties. In data modules, there's now an option to refresh properties of query items and calculations. This was a very manual process before. And the properties updated include data type, usage, and aggregations. And where this happens, for example, sometimes when you're getting your database changes, database type changes, and you need to obviously propagate these changes right through to your data module. In the past, it required manual, painstaking updating, and now with 11.2.2, you can do that significantly quicker than you could before, which again makes your data module, in this particular case, significantly more flexible, and I believe the term is less brittle. Again, allowing for more customers to adopt data modules quicker.
So Greg, thank you for this. We're hitting at 11:30, and you guys have such great content. I want to just allow you guys to get through as much as possible. We're running out of time, so thank you everyone for attending and presenting. I hope you enjoyed the Take30 and look forward to presenting to the next one. And next time we will try to organize so we'll have more time for Q&A.